Hi, I'm Seamless, and this is one of these videos where I talk to you about stuff. Only I don't actually have my recording setup fully reset up yet because I just got back from the Netherlands 2 days ago. One day ago. Man, I don't even know. By the way, there will be a recap video for that starting up. But today, this video is about YouTube ranty stuff. The title of this video is "I am not Google's responsibility." What does that have to do with anything? Well, recently, if you're up on this sort of thing, you might have seen lots of controversy revolving around YouTube and YouTube policies. There was the whole Fibros thing, and that sort of, I feel like, coincided with the shedding light on like React videos in general, and that brought up some things about copyright. And this also sort of collided with like a massive increase in abuses of YouTube's copyright claimant system for infringing content, and how people could just make false claims and just block you from ever making money or even having a video or even losing your channel quite easily through a bunch of truths about the ridiculously lopsided nature of YouTube's sort of enforcement of that law. Lots of people have pointed this out. Like the reason I'm saying this one is because I just saw one by the Nostalgia Critic, which I enjoy. Like, everything he said about the identifications of what the problems are absolutely true. And other people have definitely been talking about it too. He actually shows a couple examples in the video itself. And all of that, everything about that is true. All of those things are problems. Everything about that is accurate. The short of it is basically things like you can only have a certain number of claims active, and you can't dispute more claims while you have a claim active. And if you get like certain kinds of strikes, there's different kinds of strikes, different kinds of claims, and they're all really just sort of shady and shitty. And even if they're false, they still, like, there's one particular claim where they claim, this is a pretty common one, where they claim money on your video. This actually happens in some of my videos. It's one of the big reasons why I stopped doing viewer track reviews all this time ago. And honestly, I'm considering doing it again because I'm getting hit with the same problems, and there's just no solution to it that I can consider. I'm going to work on it because I really want to do the track reviews because people like it a lot, but it's just not worth it. And then it just, so those are the kinds of problems that exist. And the basic truth of it is that enforcement is non-existent. And what I mean by enforcement is that there's supposed to be things in the law about how if you make a false claim, then there are penalties. Of course, it's not so much making a claim that turned out to be false as it is knowingly make a claim that's false, which obviously is super hard to prove because you have to prove a negative somehow, some order of that. But the issue with this means that people can just make fraudulent claims left and right and face no repercussions. And the system for like proving your innocence is so stupidly not in your favor. Now, here's the thing. I talked about this before about why this is even the case. And the video, the Nostalgia Critics video is actually pretty good about that. It outlines the real sort of crux of the matter, which was basically happened when Google was sued by Viacom. Google and YouTube, not so much YouTube, but Google itself, but like YouTube as a platform is allowed to exist because of YouTube's ridiculously lopsided claimant system. Otherwise, Viacom and people like them would not ever allow YouTube to continue to operate. Because there'd just be no way that they would ever be able to police pirated content and have the kind of control they want to have over the platform in order for their content to exist. So, whatever moral arguments you want to make about how crappy that is, because I'm right there with you. It's dumb, but I'm kind of actually on the side of someone who gets his shit ripped off constantly. I'm also glad the system exists just the way it does, because it is a lot easier for me to just go around taking the people's thing. I also kind of want to point out that the majority of the people who are having these kinds of problems are people whose sort of YouTube life, their livelihood, oh boy, here it comes. The livelihood are people who make content that requires third-party content to exist. People who make reviews, people who make reaction videos, people who make let's plays of video games. Yeah, video games are copyrighted content, and that's what your video is you doing that. That's all protected by fair use. That's all fully legit. It's fully legal, and I'm obviously not saying that's the case because let's be honest. As original as my content tries to be, where I mostly make everything myself, I don't own FL Studio. I don't work for ImageLine. Using FL in the video is showing copyrighted content, copyrighted material. FL Studio is copyrighted. So, like, I'm really not exempt from that sort of list of people who make their living off YouTube. But that's not my problem. None of that is my problem. My problem is how people tend to want to tackle the issue. They tackle the issue by pulling the sympathy card, saying that this kind of thing makes it difficult for them to continue to have their livelihood on YouTube. That this is their job now, this is their career, and when it's as ludicrously easy as it is to essentially end their career by happening to have more than 3 active strikes, even if they're all false and they're all being disputed, and their channel is deleted, because that's what happens when that happens to you. And suddenly their money making, the breadwinning, the livelihood is gone. And that's that's sort of the card they play. The argument they make is also that the law is crappy, and that's honestly my position, that the law is bad. Like, the law needs to be retooled the way that, because otherwise, like, the whole if Viacom wasn't able to threaten to sue YouTube for not complying with their end of the bargain and the whole safe harbor concept, then Google wouldn't have to be doing this kind of crap, because Google knows it's shitty. It's in Google's best interest to benefit the creators, and they know that. It's not about that. It's about, if they didn't do that, it wouldn't exist at all. And that's what there is about that. But the point being is that I am not Google's responsibility. The fact that my business is surrounding YouTube and would not exist without YouTube, and exists because of YouTube, it can only exist because of YouTube. It's not Google's fault. If Google were to just die tomorrow and YouTube were to vanish out of thin air, my career would be in deep fucking shit. It would be bad. I would survive a little bit, but it'd be fucking hard. Like, what would I even be doing anymore? I'd just do lessons full time, and I'd have no way to, like, it would just be bad. It would be terrible, and my career would be over. But that's not Google's responsibility. It's my own damn fault for building my business on a platform that I don't own or control in any way, shape, or form. A free service that I agreed a whole bunch of crap to use, obviously, and so do you. If you ever upload a video and you make agreements being like, you agreed, like, liabilities, and there's what you're doing, and like, you're independent, like, I don't mean, whatever, you're responsible for your own doings. Google and YouTube are a private service. YouTube is a private service, and it is my choice to have my career revolve around it. It's just really not their responsibility at the end of the day to ensure that we're nice and comfortable and happy and good. They do what they have to do to survive and what they have to do to make money, which, by the way, YouTube doesn't make money. I don't think YouTube has ever posted a profit. Probably did before Google bought it, just because it was smaller back then. But, like, ever since Google's bought it, I don't think it has ever pulled a profit. It has basically just broken even every single year. Which actually brings up a whole bunch of things I'll talk about in a second, but it's kind of funny. It's not really part of the point, though. The point, ultimately, is that there are definitely the problems that they outline about how the copyright system is fully lopsided, or whether is all kinds of problems. It's bad, but nothing about us having a career on YouTube is going to make them care to change it. And it's not because they don't want to care. They do care, and they want to change it, but they can't. They can't. The system is not flawed. It is by design, as shitty as it is, in favor of people like Viacom. That's what's up. And it will continue to be that way for Google's own good, for their protection against the way copyright law is arranged. As long as that's the case, as long as the law is as it is, Google has to do this. There's no other choice. The choices are no YouTube or YouTube like this. All right? So, like, if you're going to get mad at someone for something, and you can't be like, come on, YouTube, this is my livelihood. You're screwing with my business, man. And, like, if you can't, fix this, then, like, I'm not going to I'll have to go get a day job, and it'll be bad and a problem. And that is not Google's problem, because it's your freaking fault. It's my fault. I'm one of these people. This is my career as well. It's my fault, as I said, for building a business on a platform that I don't own or control in any way. A private entity, a private platform. That's like, and I actually wrote all this in a Reddit comment that nobody's probably going to see, but there's an interesting comparison here. Like, well, that I'll get to later. But my thing that I said was that it's like making an argument that losing your job is bad like in the sense that you should, like, your company shouldn't fire you, or like they shouldn't close, like maybe they're going under and they have to close, so they have to fire you. And your argument for not being fired is that your job is how you make money, and if you lose your job you won't make any money anymore. And for that sole reason you shouldn't lose your job. And like this is the argument that you're making to the person who's responsible for firing you, or like keeping you on board or whatever. It wasn't the perfect comparison because honestly I'm tired and I'm probably not making a lot of sense, but it's equally not that person's problem, and it's equally also your fault for kind of building your life around it and relying on it with the idea that it's going to be there forever. How, I mean, just that idea, man. How YouTube isn't eternal. It's not going to be forever. And oh, don't even get me started on people saying, "Oh, we should make a new platform." Yeah, please. Can you imagine what it would be like running and building infrastructure necessary to run even 1/10 of YouTube? Damn. And people try. People have tried. That's what Vessel is. Have you heard of Vessel? Go find out what that is and see what that all is all about. It's also why SoundCloud had to do what they're doing for the taking down remixes and collabs and having ads and doing all that kind of crap. They got bigger, shit got more expensive, and they got the attention of copyright holders, and they laid a smackdown. That's what happens to anybody who gets up to a reasonable size. As long as the law is like this will happen forever. The other comparison that I made was actually kind of probably a little bit of a low blow, but if you're not in America, you may hear a lot about campus rape, where colleges rape happens, and then like crime and punishment goes down within the college system. People get like expelled, or they're usually expelled. Is kind of usually the case, and like that's the extent of their punishment. Rape is a crime. The police should be involved. And like campuses try really hard not to involve police because it looks bad and all kinds of good stuff. But the point being is that when a real actual full-on crime is happening, real actual full-on criminal prosecution should be going on, as opposed to literally kangaroo courts in a college campus. What does that have to do with YouTube? Well, YouTube's claim system is not a legal entity. It's not a legally binding anything. And because the thing that happens when you engage in the copyright strike system is that someone makes a claim on you, and then you make a counterclaim that says their claim is bullshit. And then YouTube waits a month for the other person to tell YouTube that they are fully, like, legally filing a suit against you. And then they go back to blocking your video or claiming it or whatever. And then you gotta tell them that you're full on fighting the actual lawsuit against them. And so that, like, the saying is, if actual infringement goes down, the system is really just the first step. What follows is actual freaking litigation by an individual against an individual, utterly outside whatever's going on in YouTube system. That's how like little relevance the YouTube system actually has insofar as the law goes. It's only there, and it only functions the way that it does by essentially design and creation to placate Viacom from not suing them into oblivion again. And it is working as intended. It's fully exactly how that's supposed to work. And people talk about how like you can get the claim where like your video is going to make the other people money because they claim that your content is their content, and that's how, and thus they deserve it. And then it's discovered that it's false. They still get to keep all the money that they were doing while that's happening. And people point that it's a shitty thing. I'm not gonna defend that. That's actually like stupidly bad. But people point it out as if there's a legal obligation for you to have that money. And you might be thinking, well, there is, isn't there? And no, because you consented when you upload these videos to adhere to YouTube policy, and YouTube policy is that if they make the claim, while they make the claim, they have the money. And that's like stupidly, it's not fair, it's unbalanced, it's the worst kind of like non-justice. But legally speaking, that's what the system says to do, that's what the system did, and you agreed to that being the case when you uploaded the video. And that's, again, probably an exact feature as by design by, I mean, it's probably also a function of the fact that they probably don't want to have the reverse payments, because they have payments and people get the money and then not have to get the money back. What if they set the payment? Oh my God, it's not what I didn't even think about. But the other part is that the people like studios or whatever that are suing people, or other assholes are suing people, they want to have that kind of power over YouTube for it to be worth it to allow YouTube to exist, because God damn it, there is just a whack of piracy I mean, less so now that the content ID system exists at all, but before that, just everywhere. And like, come on. So like, the comparison about that is that if we are trying to appeal to like the moral truth to YouTube with the idea that if this is just a bad deal, they know. They fully know. It's never going to matter because that's not why they're doing this. They're not doing this because they just want to be assholes. They're doing this because they're literally being forced to by the law and by the people who sued them to make them do it. And then the other sort of appeal is to be like, oh, my livelihood's being damaged. Like, you need to protect my livelihood. They do not need to protect your livelihood. I mean, me, I'm one of these guys. Remember, I made the choice to build my business around a platform I don't own. Like, I have to bear the consequences of that. If not even just like if my channel gets deleted because of the way the YouTube policy works or whatever, but because like what if YouTube just vanished tomorrow? What if like other bullcrap? I just censored myself. What if the other bullshit? There you go. Happened that just necessitated that my channel was gone, and everything I ever did is gone forever because to be totally honest, I don't back up my videos, but like those are consequences of my own actions that in no way is YouTube and Google responsible for maintaining that. Just damn. Recently I've noticed that I'm not so much against people's platforms on things, like arguments about stuff, but just against making a bad argument for their point. Even if I'm not even like in favor of their point, I just hate seeing a bad argument. Like, a lot of other things that had nothing to do with music, but this is one of them. Like, I agree that the copyright claim system is bad. I agree that having false takedowns not penalize people who do it is bad. I agree that it's bad that we can only make so many counterclaims. Well, we can have an infinite number of claims made on us, and very easily would it be possible for people who have like numerous claims to have their channel deleted just by like pure math. Like it's bad. My whole problem with the way that the outrage is going is the anger is wholly misplaced onto YouTube as a system, and the anger comes from the idea that the creators are owed something from YouTube. YouTube doesn't, like, the relationship from YouTube and the creators right now is unbelievably equitable. Like, we make the videos, they host the videos, we get them views, they give us money. Like, they get a bigger cut of the money than we do, but they are doing the hard work, to be totally fucking honest, insofar as actually watching the videos. This, like, because even this is sort of what I was talking about before about how they barely make money. What exactly are you gonna do to YouTube to sort of like force them to do this? Because the idea is like, oh, we get the message out, people hear about it, they get enraged, and and on high, everyone hears, this, we won't stand for this. Are you gonna not watch YouTube videos? Are you gonna not upload YouTube videos? You'll save them money. The act of using YouTube is what costs them money. It's a free goddamn service. It's full of ads, and they have YouTube Red now. I know, but it's like you not watching a video means that you're not using the system, and thus they're spending less money. Like, it's probably not going to be precisely proportional to like losing an ad view or whatever, but that's only something like 6% of the views anyway. So like that shows you just how like fully equitable the service is. The idea that like exactly as much as they're being used is more or less how much their resources are being expended. That's not really entirely true, but the point being is that railing on YouTube isn't going to go anywhere. They're doing what, like, honestly, the setup they have now is about as perfect as possible it is in the current climate of the law and entities moving against them, like Hollywood. So if you really want to fix it, you have to fix the law. That's it. This is honestly a lot. I mean, this is not really related in other ways, but this particular case about how like it has to be the law that fixes it is a lot like all of those banking crises and the economic crash that was occurred by people who did crap in the United States, and too big to fail and all that and all this stuff that people did like some seriously shady things to tank the economy and make a lot of goddamn money doing it, and nothing they did was illegal. People are claiming no, the bankers never went to jail. Like they never got charged with crimes because there were not crimes committed. Like some people somewhere did some shady stuff that actually was criminal, but like all the ones that made all the big money, they did it legally. It was within the law. It was shitty. It did shitty things, but it was legal. So if you want them to not be able to do that kind of crap, you have to change the law. You have to get mad at the law because what they're doing is possible under the law. And that's what YouTube is doing, and that's what Viacom is doing. And that's the only argument we should be making. The law needs to be changed. I actually don't know how. I'm not real versed in copyright law. It really wasn't a big deal to me because like 98% of what I do is my own content and have a very good relationship with ImageLine. So I'm not really worried about it. And, you know, except for the few times that I do use other people's content, like when I do viewer track reviews, which, like, I think every single one has a claim against it. That should tell you something. At one point, I had a claim against it. I think some of them do now, because I just didn't care. They're so old, I just don't care anymore. Oh, man, there was really a point to this whole thing when I started. It just boils down to the idea that I really hate it when people make the argument that the livelihood is somehow Google's problem. It was your damn fault. It was your own damn fault for building your business on YouTube. Just like it's my own damn fault for building my own business on YouTube. I fully get that. And like, it's not even that I advocate diversification because to be totally honest, I really want my entire livelihood to be based on YouTube. That would be the best solution for me, honestly, because that would be just the best. That's the best way of doing things. But even though I do that, it's actually far more volatile because if YouTube ever fucking fails, I'm gonna be shit out of luck. Anyway, I'm not even really saying that we should cut YouTube slack. Like, they know what's up. They know what's happening. They're not idiots. And I mean, yeah, the other thing people tend to bring up is how a human is ever involved in the claim system. There's absolutely no way that would ever be possible for there to be representatives working for Google that freaking handle this. How that would be a goddamn jobs program for the government to just shell out money to hire enough customer service representatives to individually handle all the claims, or even just a lot of the claims. You know, that would employ half the country, half the world. But people just really don't understand the magnitude of how some of this stuff works. They don't understand the failures of the law. And they put the onus on YouTube because YouTube is the system that does it. But YouTube really has no obligation to anything other than the law. They obviously have a vested interest in protecting creators and allowing creators to do what they want to do to make stuff on their platform. Because even if all the small guys went away and all that YouTube was with people who were like 5 million or larger like subscribers, but they know. They've always known. That's why they're bending over backwards to placate Viacom and fucking Universal Music Group and that kind of stuff. Every other day, a new video gets posted about like how YouTube's awful and why it's awful, how the claim system is stupid, and like YouTube is literally Hitler for allowing this to be the case. Never mind why, never mind how, and never mind how it's all a private service. Unbeholden to you, unbeholden to creators, because YouTube breaks even while we make money. Fucking think on it. Anyway, regular videos will return soon. Recaps of Dance Fail will happen. I have some GoPro footage, but it's kind of awful. I might just do a talkie video about it. I have some pictures. That's pretty neat. Lots of good stuff happened. Regular videos will come back. It'll be a good time. I'm still adjusting back to US time. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. If you actually listened all the way through, dear God, man, I'm sorry. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ha ha ha. And as usual, have a nice day.